American Horror Story. What can I say? I've no idea what's going on, so let's talk about it. This is my review for American Horror Story 6. That's for Season 6, Episode 1, Chapter 1. Now, the episode starts off, and at first I was completely lost as to, I'm like, what is going on here? Why are we seeing they're there, but then they're also there? Like, what's going on? Why are people acting as them? I was like, oh, okay. This is them kind of reenacting how they met. So the first main characters are Shelby and Matt. They're actually an interracial couple. Shelby's white, Matt's black. And the whole premise is that, you know, they fell in love. He's in sales. And he's borderline like a door-to-door salesman. That's not what he really is, but he might as well be. They have to go all over the country because of his job. He goes in one area, stays in one period of time, moves on to the next. Now, the thing is, she does yoga. But she's like a yoga instructor. She's like a life coach. And I'm thinking, this chick is pretty messed up. How is she? Oh, she just needs to do this for herself. Because anyway, now they were in love. Everything was going great until this one fateful night when there were these young teens, and I was looking at them like, oh my gosh, they look sketchy. They look sketchy. You guys must have been La La Land, because I would have been on the other side of the street. I don't care what anyone says. When you see a certain type of person, and when I say see, I mean see as in here. As in you feel something that feels off and feels wrong, you better happily take yourself and move yourself out of that equation. They didn't do that. They were such in lovey-dovey land that they didn't realize that these sketchy kids were a little too close. And so what ends up happening is they separate Shelby from Matt, and Matt gets knocked out. One punch, boom! Now I felt bad. I felt bad because Matt was knocked out. When I say he was knocked out, he was knocked out. And at first I'm thinking, wait a minute. What's going on? Why do you keep seeing these different type of people? Anyway, and Shelby, she's actually pregnant. She's pregnant, and they push her. At first I got scared because I was thinking, oh no, are they going to rape her? That's what I was thinking. But what ends up happening is Matt was knocked out. His eye was really badgered and bruised, and he was unconscious. So Shelby, of course, super stressed, and Matt looks really bad, but she's like, you know, I need to see him, because if I see him, and if I'm there with him, he'll wake up. And he starts to move as soon as she goes and holds his hand, as soon as she makes her presence known. Now, once she sits down, she's super joyed. Tragedy strikes, and she loses the baby. She has a miscarriage. So they decide that they need to take life into their own hands. You know, the typical story of life has been crazy, so they need to go and separate themselves from everywhere else. Now, mind you, Sarah Paulson is Shelby, and Cuba Gooding Jr. is Matt. You know, the main people who are actually enacting the scenes. Now, anyway, they decide they need to go out, go far away. Matt has this sales opportunity in the South, so he's going to go and buy this property. It's this huge house. Huge house. House was creepy. Extremely creepy, but again, it was very huge. So he was thinking, you know what, I can take this opportunity. We can start over. And the bidding starts at $21,000. This house is huge. I'm telling you, it looks like a building borderline small building complex, possibly. And $21,000, he's like, what's wrong with it? You have these, we'll say, stereotypical hillbilly-esque people who, now mind you, I saw it. There was a Confederate flag. Now, whether it was an actual flag or if it was just like a sticker or whatever, on the hillbilly-esque guy's truck. And they were like, well, you know, there's a storm, there's this and that. And so he's like, okay, 21,000, 23,000, 25,000. Oh, what was it? 27,000, 40,000. Matt threw out there, and of course Shelby was just like, oh, he's taking charge. I'm super impressed. I'm thinking, Shelby, you don't want that house, because Shelby even said that there was something about that house that didn't feel right. So they're going and they're fixing up the house. They have sex in the house. They clean up the house. Everything. They do everything with the house. Now, mind you, Shelby still feels very uncertain about this, but Matt seems super sure about it. So that's what they're going to go with. Now, there was a noise outside, and so that caused Matt to go out there and look at what's going on. He's thinking that it's possibly the hillbilly-esque guys who were trying to convince him not to get the house in the first place. There was a dead pig on their front steps, so he went and buried it. He didn't want to burden Shelby with it. No, what he really didn't want is Shelby to be freaked out to the point where she wanted to leave, because Shelby is not dumb. Now Matt goes away to work. Shelby's in the house alone, and we're thinking, I'm like, what is that? Because that does not look like hail. It sounds like hail. It possibly looks like hail, but it's not hail. You know what it is? Teeth. Rotten teeth are falling from the sky. So she calls Matt. Matt, come, you better get your butt here. And there's no teeth. Matt's like, what? Are you okay? And Shelby's like, look, there's teeth. I know there's teeth. Matt's just like, I know you're super stressed. Just, do you even want to be here? It's just like, yeah, of course I do. Whatever. Now, he's, again, getting ready to go off on another business trip. And mind you, she's doing her yoga. She just wants to relax. She just wants to free her mind. The rest will follow. And that's what she's thinking. She's having her drink. She's eating her food. And the shutter outside goes and slams against the window. So she's like, oh, she shook. But then it's just like, oh, it's just a shutter. I'm so dumb. Now, she goes from that, and afterwards, she's wandering the halls. She's wandering the halls because she still hears something. And she sees two girls. Now, these two girls dress as if they're in a uniform. They look like they could have possibly been nurses in a previous life. There's a lot going on. She's thinking, Lord Jesus, what is going on? So instead of doing the smart thing and running out of the house, she decides to go and investigate. But she doesn't see anything, so she just thinks that it's the alcohol. It's her imagination. She knows she doesn't want to be there, so maybe it's her mind playing tricks on her. Now, she's drinking. Again, with all this in her head, she decides she wants to go into the jacuzzi. Why? Because she's an idiot. That's why. She goes into the jacuzzi. She's trying to relax. Yamaste, yamaste. You know what ends up happening? Someone, a couple of people go and try to drown her. And so, again, she's shook. She calls the police first, then calls her husband. Her husband comes. The police officer's just like, hey, what's up? Are you her husband? Again, he was saying it like, that's a white woman you're married to. You know that, right? But he's like a reformed version, so he didn't go in. But this is like, yeah, so she thought, she heard, she felt, this is what she was thinking. And Matt's saying, what's your problem? So where are they? Did you catch them? It's like, catch who? There is no evidence. You need to go and check with her to see what's up, because she might be a little cuckoo, cuckoo. Matt's over it, so he's just like, why don't you go and do your job? It could possibly be the guys that were trying to be in the house in the first place, and the police officer says how, oh yeah, I know them. I'll go and check into it. And it was just like, he was like, so what am I supposed to do? Are you guys going to come back? Are you going to go and protect us? We need protection. It's like, if you need protection, get a gun. I'm thinking, yeah, I'll get a gun, alright. Anyway, Shelby is talking to Matt, and Shelby's not recanting, but discussing her story with Matt. And the issue is, even though Matt loves her, Matt kind of believes her, Matt's thinking, Shelby, are you okay? Are you good? Shelby's pissed because she feels like, wait a minute, so you don't trust me? You don't believe me? Then what's the point of you being here if you don't trust and or believe me? Like, what's really going on? So Shelby's saying in her confessional, well, it's, the whole thing is, I understand that he may not believe it because I really don't want to be here, but I'm not crazy. Maybe a little, but I'm not crazy. But maybe a little. Now again, if I didn't already explain this, first please like, comment, subscribe if you're if this is your first time watching. If this isn't your first time watching, please like and comment to this video, subscribe if you haven't done so. And right now with this show, it keeps going back and forth between the actors who are portraying, okay, this is what happened, because it's like a Dateline murder mystery type of thing where you have the actors going through the scene and the people kind of saying what was actually happening during this time frame. So that's how they structured it for this season. I'm thinking, okay, that's kind of whack, kind of generic. This first episode didn't really give you much. It gave you like 6 different moments. There's just like, whoa, what's going on? But it was not much to talk about. So we're going to get right to it. Matt realizes he needs to go to work. He needs to go to work so he can afford the finer things in life. You know, pay off this thing because they use most of their savings to do so. So he invites his sister Lee, who is Angela Bassett. You already know the show just went up 100 points just because Angela Bassett is on the scene. So here we go. Angela Bassett, Lee. Lee, she used to be a police officer. She got addicted to drugs. Not regular drugs, pain medication. And so because she got addicted to pain medication, she lost her job. How she actually lost her job was this. One day she was in a trap house and there was a baby. You know, there was all these high people there, but then there was also this cute baby. So she was distracted by the baby, and so she got shot. And of course she was in a lot of pain, so they started to give her pain medication. The issue is she didn't really know much about, you know, making sure she didn't get addicted. So and she went from taking maybe like 2 or 3 a day to 2 to 3 an hour, every hour. Now, while she was you know, in her little stupor, this guy, apparently he was, what was he, like a rapist or something of that nature? I think he was a rapist killer. No, he was definitely a rapist. He was speeding. So she goes and tails him. He goes, they're driving. There's this bridge, this underpass is under construction. So he crashes into the, we'll just say it's like a salt truck, something of that nature, asphalt, something of that nature. He gets out of the car. She's like, freeze! He shoots himself. She's thinking, okay, cool. He's dead. He's off the streets. The women are safe. Now, well, assuming it's women. But when her fellow officer or deputy, whoever, went inside her car, they saw the pain meds. So it's just like, what are you, what? You're fired. You are you're fired. And then she lost her daughter. Her daughter's name is Flora. She lost custody of her daughter. Why would I say son? Her daughter, and she can only see her a couple of times a month or something like that. And her husband divorced her, and it was just a lot. It was just a lot. So now she's there, and she's supposed to be watching over Shelby. And so Shelby's cooking, and she's using this knife to cut up carrots. Next thing you know, she hears a sound. She leaves the kitchen. When she comes back in the kitchen, the knife is gone. The knife is in the beef. And so, next thing you know, we have Shelby who pops up, and we have Lee who pops up. And Shelby's thinking, Lee, why'd you do that to me? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Now, they don't like each other because Lee doesn't respect the fact that she basically feels like Shelby's job isn't a real job. She doesn't take Shelby seriously. It's just like this woman always has panic attacks. She had 2 years of college. You know, I went to 4 years to a prestigious school. Compared to whatever she was doing, I have my degree, I had a position, I may have lost it, but I still had it. She's just at home doing namaste every day. So, there's a lot of love lost there. And since Lee is still, you know, trying to deal with her sobriety, she wants Shelby not to drink in the house. Of course, it sounds crazy because it's like, this is my house. You're telling me I can't drink in my house? But she acknowledged that. It's just like, I really need you to do this for me so that I can stay sober. So it's like, oh, okay. I'm not evil, so okay, that works. Now, while Lee's asleep, she hears a sound. Next thing you know, you see this bottle of wine coming down into her room. It's rolled into her room. So she storms out of her room. She's thinking that it's Shelby who did it. It's just like, you know me. You know that I have issues. I told you about the sobriety thing. And then you're trying to play a joke on me by trying to put alcohol in my room? What's wrong with you? Shelby's saying, what's wrong with you? I would never go and do something like that. Why would you think I'll possibly do something like that? Now, mind you, Matt's went and put up security cameras once the whole pig incident occurred, so that he can keep a watch on Shelby, even with his sister being there. Oh, and by the way, when Shelby is starting to argue with Lee, Lee hears something. So Lee was just like, stop. She's like, don't tell me. It's like, there is someone in the house. So now it's time for them to go and figure out where is that sound coming from. Again, I'm thinking, I get why Lee's doing it because she's a police officer. She's used to rushing into danger. But Shelby, why are you following her? But then again, I would too. Because with that type of temperament, I would actually feel a lot safer next to Lee than by myself. So they make their way downstairs and the TV is on. Why is the TV on? Because there's a tape playing. And the tape is a home movie. And it's of this guy. And it looks like the same woodsy area that's surrounding their house. Now, there's definitely something crazy going on in the woods. But he's basically attacked by this pig-like creature. It kind of reminds me of the bull from season, what was it, season 3 from Coven? I don't know why, I got that vibe from it. They took it very seriously. They're freaked out by it because they didn't know what it was. Next thing they know, Matt's trying to call Lee because he's like, Lee, pick up! He notices on the security cam that there's all these people coming into the house. And then someone locks the door. Now I'm thinking, thank the Lord someone locked the door. I wouldn't be surprised if that was your guardian angel, because who knows what happened to you guys if that door wasn't locked. Eventually they're able to get out, and once they do, they see all of these like voodoo, it's like a nest. It's like a nest encasing the staircase, and it's of these voodoo dolls, and they're all hanging. I'm like, damn, that looks like some racist religious mess. Now, of course, Matt storms home, and by the time he gets there, the police has already come and gone. And it's just like, you know, this is vandalism. This is more than vandalism. Are you crazy? They broke into our home to do this. How could they have done this so quickly? I'm thinking the same thing. There was a bunch of them, but still, that was crafty the way how they did it. Now, they took Matt downstairs to watch the video. Matt didn't take the video too seriously, and so that really ensured the fact that Shelby was like, you know what? I'm done with this. Shelby storms out of the house, takes the car, drives, because she realizes Matt's going to do whatever he wants to do, and Shelby's like, fire flight. Right now, Matt doesn't have my back. I need to have my own back. She's driving. Next thing you know, this woman, and Wells like, wait a minute, is that Kathy Bates? Yes, Kathy Bates has made her official appearance for this season, first episode. Super excited. So it's all coming back to, it really is starting to feel like a Coven reunion. But the interesting thing is that Kathy Bates gets hit with Shelby's car, and so Kathy Bates definitely looks like she had a cleaver in her hand. Now I'm thinking, Shelby, don't you see this woman has a cleaver in her hand? I know you hit her, but, and mind you, she's on the phone with Matt, so he's initially hearing this stuff. Shelby runs into the woods to go after the woman that she hit. I'm like, what type of logic is this? So she's going, she's running, she falls, she realizes she's lost, she's starting to hyperventilate and freak out. So then she keeps doing the namaste thing, and she's walking through the woods. Then she starts to run again, because she keeps hearing sounds. Next thing you know, she is in the middle of, I don't know what it is, this cult, this something, and there was like this animal-like creature. It might have been the same one that was behind the tree when they initially bought the house, or the army of the undead. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm completely lost and confused. Again, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. This show is a mess. I don't... That was a lot of talking for not much action.